Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to Adam's Quest. In the last episode, our oracles gave us a gift that they never ever expected when little Soul was born in the nest with his big platypus beak. We're hoping that he's going to be able to clear the air for the tribe in a way, finally put to rest all of those lost souls on the island, Scylla and Sunstone, all of the creatures who passed away beneath the waves. Once he toddles on down to the beaches, he should be able to find the worms that dig up in the seafloor, and hopefully that's going to be enough to finally set their souls at ease. Of course, we do have their mother to bury too. Molassie did unfortunately pass away, and I think that role is going to have to fall squarely on Daybreak's shoulders. He was the only one of her children who actually inherited the digging paw, so I guess he's the only one who can do it anyways. He could always seek out Kurovan's help. I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't mind helping, but I feel like he's going to be a little bit too distracted. He's just about to cross paths with his sister again, as she seeks out Beowulf thanks to Molassie's prophecy. He's not really sure how he wants this to go. Part of him wants to seek revenge. She kind of pushed him away from the family after all. She was afraid that he was going to steal those bluebird feathers. But I'm not sure if he has the heart for it, especially after he sees that she has a brand new little baby in the nest. How could he possibly betray his family like that? She might be brutal, she might be selfish, but he is not that way, and especially not after giving that whole big spiel to Petaltail about family. How could he possibly send her into the dark and dangerous swamp? So I think as perhaps we bring Sunslash over here, that way he can protect the little baby. We'll have Sire come into the swamplands, where she'll stumble directly into her brother. Naturally, she is still rather cautious, a little bit suspicious of her brother, so I feel like she would give him quite a bit of distance as she goes around. But he's not going to let it distract him. He'll go ahead and clear out a little bit of that pathway. That way it should be easier for her to get to Beowulf. It's what he knows is the right thing to do, and I guess in a way it gives him time to get to know the rest of the family. She might not want him around, but that doesn't mean that he can't get to know the new little baby, our little mushroom, the rebirth of the mushrooms in our tribe once more. He has the poison fangs as well, so I guess he could even teach him how to pick those poison berries. He's going to be one of the very few in our tribe who can get us the food that we need, so we can finally move off to the mountain soon. To be honest, I do feel like we're probably going to find a little bit more food on the mountain than here. If you guys have been watching our Ancient Legends challenge, then you know exactly how much food we have from the mountains. We might even have some berry bushes to collect from, but aside from that, we should have a lot of bunnies. And we have plenty of able hunters, so I think they're going to be able to replenish our food supplies up there much better than here. But let's go back to Sire now, because she's going to have to convince Beowulf to come with her. Molassie's prophecy is still haunting her mind. This prophecy about balance, and for some reason she told her that she should seek out Beowulf. Beowulf is kind of just like her family in a way. He's made of the shadows too. He's the other half of Anime's champions. So he's kind of like the direct opposite of Sunslash, who just so happens to be his half-brother. That balance that she was talking about, I wonder if perhaps that has a little bit more to do with the mountains too. Maybe it's not just about Sire's selfish personality, but she wants us to consider the possibility of dangers. When I think of balance in the mountains, the first thing that comes to mind is the balanced bear. Maybe Molassie knows that they're going to need both sides, light and dark, to truly conquer the balanced bear. It won't be easy to take him down after all, because it takes quite a bit of power to pierce through that rough hide. I think that Beowulf would be able to do the job, and he certainly has the experience to lend to our other creatures too. He could definitely train them, but that does mean that he would have to abandon his mission out here. That's probably going to be the toughest thing for him to swallow. He's only out here because he wants to teach Nuvan how to take down the bearyenas too, to avenge his family, of course, who had fallen into their claws. But the two of them have yet to find a single danger out here in the swamps. So would he stay out here for the rest of his days? Or would he admit that he needs to help the tribe? Surely he knows that the tribe comes first. So I think he's going to accept. We'll have him tear down these berry bushes though as he goes, because we could definitely use them for the food. And we already know that somebody else in the tribe will probably get to it if we don't. In fact, I suppose we could even have Petaltail go back to pick up the rest. Let's have him clear out the pathway for now, though. That way everybody should be able to get through much more easily. We'll want Sunslash to get back to his family soon, but I know that he wouldn't leave a little baby unprotected, and he probably knows that Meadowhawk has his paws full right now. He has tons and tons of berry bushes to collect from. I suppose on the next turn it'll be easier because Kurovan can help, but for now, little Sunslash, if you wouldn't mind, let's have you hop over here. That way you can light up a little bit more of this area for the baby. Now let's go back to the oracles, because I think it's time that Sol takes his first steps out of the nest. He can probably feel the pull toward the ocean, so I can see him stumbling straight out toward the beaches. Of course, we'll have Daylight follow very close behind, but that's going to lead her to stumble straight into our resident shadow, Nuvan. He's been lurking in the shadows over here, the shadows of the thorns, and thanks to his very, very dark appearance, it's not very likely that she would notice him. I feel like he is definitely going to unnerve her, not only because they're polar opposites, but that void-like stare would probably unnerve anybody who crossed his path. And that big mischievous grin, of course. Probably makes her feel like he's up to no good. But he does have the water body, so if he wanted to pull his very first prank, I suppose now would be his chance. He could dive into the ocean, acting innocent of course, seeing if they need any help finding those worms, but I can see our little shadow just leading our oracles in circles around these ports. He'll pop up in random places, probably pick like the furthest worms to show them, and then skitter off somewhere before they can even catch their breath. I guess that'll only work so long as Daylight doesn't wisen up to his ways. And what with their oracle powers, she's very, very likely to come to terms with that quite soon. Let's have Daybreak start making his way around his siblings, though. I guess he's going to have to cross through the water for now. We'll bring him down here, perhaps to investigate Nuvan himself. He's not so sure about this guy, so he wants to make sure that his little siblings are going to be okay in his presence. That just leaves Sand Dragon to maybe knock down some more of these coconuts. We'll bring him back over here. Oh, it looks like he has access to one of the worms. Do you think he would give up his place, though? Honestly, if these kids came up to him saying that there was something under his feet, like the perfect place to bury one of those lost souls, I'm not sure if he would believe them. He probably just wants to stay here because it's the best place to collect food. You would have to have somebody else convince him. Treasure or Damselfly, maybe. Damselfly is his sister, so maybe he would be a little bit more willing to listen to her. And for that matter, there's even more out here right by the nest. This entire area has been pretty lucky for roots and for the worms. It makes me wonder what it is about these tide pools that attracts all of our spirits. It's very, very curious. Maybe it's something that our oracles can figure out in the future. It might even help explain why we were able to channel a splash through our new little baby trinket. I'm sure that Treasure is so excited to go swimming with this new baby. Maybe we could bring him over here so we could pick up some of those coconuts. As much as I'm sure Sand Dragon would detest that. I feel like he's getting so fed up with everybody stealing his food sources all the time. He is not about that bandit life, and he is not too impressed with Sire's ways either. He's all for feeding the tribe, but please, let him do his job in peace. Let's have Damselfly scoot her way over here, I suppose. Maybe she could light up more of this area so her baby will be safe. And then I think it's just down to you now, Tavanku. And I know that he really, really does not want to babysit his little brother anymore. He's so fed up with his antics. So maybe he'll just quietly sneak away, go seek his father and his new little brother. Oh, I wonder if they could bond out here? Let's have Tavanku go ahead and clear out some of the grasses. And then I think we should be ready to skip the day. I suppose we could always have Nuvan go deeper, though. Maybe he wants to go around these ports like we were planning, so we'll have him swim down here so it should be easier on the next turn. Daylight doesn't really have much else to do. We want her to stay right by her brother's side, so let's go ahead and zoom out and skip the day once more. Keeping our eyes on the darkness, of course. Oh, how terribly fitting. Oh, the bearyenas have come at last, Beowulf. This is your chance to shine. Especially because it looks like they're coming out to attack your leader. Oh, this is the perfect way for him to show her how strong he is. But of course, he's not going to take all the credit. I feel like he would probably want Nuvan to land the final blow. So let's have him use a couple of his turns to wear the bearyena down. Oh no, don't tell me. Do not even tell me that that was Nuvan. He's all the way down here with so much kelp around him. It's you, isn't it? Yep, it is definitely Nuvan. Look what your mischievous ways have gotten you into now. You have the piranha lurking right by you. They're probably just waiting for you to start bleeding. And now if he goes around the ports, he is going to be in a very sore situation. Well, let's bring him over here. He should be able to leap up to the surface. In fact, we could bring him all the way up here next to the little baby with the platypus beak. Well, maybe he could try to get Sol to pick that off for him. Think of it as practice for all those worms that you're going to have to dig up in the future. To be honest, I could see Nuvan being the type to go like crying to his big brother when anything goes wrong. So maybe that's who he was looking for. He knows that his big brother was up here by the tree, but unfortunately he moved on, so the little guy had to improvise. Interesting how the piranha are still following very close behind you, Nuvan. I think they have their eyes on you, so you better be careful. Let's go back to the bearyena though. We have to make sure that Nuvan can take down this threat. So the bearyena only has 2 days left? Oh, how fitting. That means that you should be able to take it out with one final blow? There you go, I guess we could say you have officially avenged your family, and Sire is very impressed. Let's have her gather up all of that food, and then she'll shepherd you both through the small clearing, so you guys can make it back toward the tribe. I think she's much more impressed with the Nuvan now than she was before too, so she'd be a little bit more likely to accept him on the mission. He doesn't really fit the bill as one of the shadows, so if she was going to follow purely in Molassi's prophecy, she probably wouldn't have spared him a second glance. But now her ways are changing, and our little purple scruffy boy might just be going to the mountains after all. So let's bring Sire all the way out toward her family again. That way she can guide them straight over to the nest, I suppose. And then maybe it's time for Petaltail to slink back into the darkness. I think he wants just a little bit more food to bring back to his brother. We could have him maybe pick up some of the berries and slice it down on the next turn. That way we're not wasting quite so many. But I mean, with all the berries that we have to pick over here, maybe we'll finally catch ourselves up with the food collecting today. Let's have our little mushroom rush out of the nest so we can greet his mother. We'll give him his orange gem too. And that means that Sunslash should be able to hop back to his family. I just noticed that we have some more of those worms to dig up over here too. So that's another potential area where Nuvan could bring Sol. And look how mighty Daybreak looks with his third and final gem. Oh, he truly looks like a little lion. I love those ears. Well, let's start bringing him over to the roots now. Will he be able to scoot past the coconuts if he goes this way? I think he might end up getting trapped underneath them, so we're going to have you go around Sand Dragon instead. He is not going to give up his place for anything. Let's have Treasure jump up here so we can knock down the rest of the coconuts, then jump right back to his little baby. Oh, I'm sure Daybreak wasn't expecting to see quite so many creatures over here either. That's going to be rather awkward now that he has to dig up their home. All he really has to do is explain it to Damselfly though. She, of course, traveled side by side with Molassi, so she would remember the Oracle. And I'm sure that she would be more than willing to give up some of their space to ensure that her soul will be set to rest. It's probably reminding her, too, that she really needs to catch up with Sire. Ever since she met Treasure, she's been a little bit distracted. She hasn't exactly been going on her voyages with her. Not that she really needs her protection anymore, what with Beowulf around, but it would still be nice for our little band of lady bandits to travel together. Now I'm afraid the leeches may have thrown you off your course a little bit, Sol. I don't know, should we have him get his toes wet? Daylight might be a little bit too nervous now after seeing Nuvan infected with the leeches. What if one ends up getting to Sol instead? I think we'll have him toddle his way into the water, just to see if he can find anything. But Daylight is going to be right beside you too? Oh, have they already found one? Interesting. Oh, Nuvan, your plans might be crumbling then. Daylight knows that there is a nice big pile of worms right here for him to use. So I think that's what he's going to dig up in the next turn. Now we just have Nuvan, and I think since his mother is over here with the baby, maybe we'll have him move on somewhere else. We could bring him back here to pick up the grasses again, I suppose. Unfortunately, there's not very much for him to do with nobody to heal. That's where he would have come in handy for Nuvan, but he's just so fed up with his brother's antics. So let's go ahead and skip the day again. No more bearyenas this time, right? Looks like everything is safe. You guys are safe once more to move on to the ports. Anime must be very, very proud of you. So Beowulf is getting pretty old at this point. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if he's actually going to survive the mission. Once everybody makes their way to the ports, he's probably only going to have a couple of days left on his lifespan. But I'm sure it goes without saying that I really do want to see him live on in some way. I want to see his legacy live on. So I'm hoping that we can find somebody to breed him with, even if that could potentially risk some sick babies. I'm actually wondering if maybe Daylight is going to sense this new vision. A new vision in the big prophecy surrounding the mountains. It's perfect timing too, because her third gem has arrived. She's all nice and fully grown just like her big brother. So maybe, as Sol goes ahead and digs out that very first worm patch. Hey there, little leech. Good thing I noticed you. You know, Sunslash is actually pretty good at taking care of leeches. They seem to kind of ignore him, but when they do come up to him, he is quick to swipe them down. It's like he has an extra sense just for the leeches. Maybe you ought to spend a little bit more time next to him, Nuvan. You could probably use the pointers. But Daylight, we'll have her make her way out of the water so she can meet Beowulf. Now, these two might be on opposite ends of the family, but she can sense some great promise in him. Her visions are still very vague because she's so new at this, but she can sense that there's a possibility that their babies might be the mightiest that this island has ever seen. The only problem is there's also the potential for some pretty nasty sickness. So she knows the risk is great, but it's one that she's willing to take if it means bringing balance to the tribe, and that her mother's prophecy will finally come true. So in Beowulf, we're going to alter his mutation menu. We'll go ahead and place the bearyena ears into his first slot, since we don't really want those big ears causing any problems. Then naturally I feel like the antennas would be next. It would be great if their baby could inherit the oracle powers too. I'm not sure if we're going to alter Daylight's mutation menu though. She's so much younger than he is, so she will be going to the mountain. And that means there's always the potential that she might find some love there, and she might end up having a true family, one that would be better suited to different genes. So for now, we're just going to trust in the game to give us what we need. We'll have Beowulf use his turn to breed with her. Hopefully. There we go. So she should be able to cart that baby to the next island, and hopefully they'll be just as strong as their father. I believe Beowulf even has the big body in his inactive traits. Yeah, the big body, of course the bearyena snout. Wouldn't that be great if we saw the bearyena snout on their babies? The bearyena hind legs could give them extra strength. There is so much potential in their baby together. But of course, if they're sick, it's going to be pretty hard for them to survive. So we're just going to leave it up to fate at this point. Now Petaltail, go ahead and pick some of those berries, then swipe the rest of that bush down. A nice big feast to tie us over until we're ready to leave. And Nuvan, let's have you make your way up behind your mentor so you can join the party too. He is just so striking compared to all of our shadows and our sunny babies. I wonder if he would end up catching anybody's eye. Maybe even our water baby Trinket. Since she's going to be just like her father and she'll love collecting treasures, maybe that beautiful purple fur is going to draw her attention. So as she goes swimming for the very first time with her father, we'll bring her all the way out to the ocean. She can dip her toes in. Unfortunately, it looks like she is not that good at swimming. Oh my goodness, she only has a 1 in swimming in fact. I guess it's because the gills don't give them any extra. It just offers them a little taste of the water breathing. Treasure has the tail fin too, which really gives them speed. But one of you mentioned that it also takes away from their cold resistance, which I completely forgot about. So I guess we're not going to want our creatures who are going to the mountains to carry on that tail fin after all. It'll come back eventually on their line, but for now they really need to adapt. I guess it's kind of fitting though. Splash was a pretty clumsy creature even in the water, but with his two no-paws. So it kind of makes sense that Trinket would be a little bit clumsy too. It's almost like she's the second coming of Splash or something. Let's have Treasure come over here. That way he should be able to pick up some of this algae, so he could at the very least send Trinket off with tons of algae to use as her bed. Just a little something to remind her of home. Now Nuvan, it seems that you've been left here all alone with Little Soul, so maybe it's time for you to start leading him astray again. Do you think another leech is going to come out to stop him? I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. It seems like the ocean gods are not too fond of you. Though the fish are a different story. Are those Splash's minions coming up to tell you to be kind to Little Soul? Maybe that's what's going on here. Well, of course Nuvan would try to swipe them up. He's not going to be very good at catching fish, but he would not appreciate them teasing him like that. At least that gives Sand Dragon the chance to catch an extra meal or two. The poor guy could probably use a little bit of variety in his diet anyways. Oh, we have so many places to dig up over here. Oh, Nuvan, I hope you're going to lead him in the right direction. We don't need poor Little Soul going in circles all day long. Now let's bring Daybreak up here. That way he can finally set the soul of Molassie to rest. Way over here by the very same place that she once taught Kurovan. I guess in a way it's all coming full circle for her. This was how she was first accepted into our tribe, and this is how she's leaving it too. So Damselfly, maybe we could bring you down here, because it looks like there's still plenty of fish for you to catch. And then I guess it'll be time for Daybreak to start making his way back to his family, because we are so close to leaving. We only have a few more turns to make. Now I'm a little bit concerned about those bluebird feathers. I'm really not sure what Sire is going to choose. Oh, and neither is Penny. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but Penny is sitting right next to me, and she is also very concerned about the state of these bluebird feathers. I mean, I feel like Duke Ronu is more likely to stay behind. I feel like everything here is really suited to his taste. He has so many poison berries to pick from. He can go diving into the water without fear of freezing. This is really the life for somebody like him. I guess he could even stay back here with Kurovan himself. Maybe the two have even bonded over the past few days, because our little mushroom prince can really tell how lonely he is. So that would leave just her other two babies to choose from. Her firstborn Tavanku, who seems far more interested in healing, to be honest, than leading the tribe. And then our resident shadow Nuvan. Now, to be honest, I feel like he would be the favorite out of all of her children. I feel like she would be shameless about that too. Nuvan is clearly her favorite because he takes after her the most. So if she had to give away her precious bluebird feathers, and I think she does realize that she will eventually have to pass them on to one of her kids, I feel like she would be the most likely to give it to Nuvan. But since he is such a mischievous soul, I don't know, he doesn't seem like he's suited to the life of leadership to me. He's going to have somebody really whip him into shape. And oh, Tavanku, you are not going to like this, but I feel like that role is going to fall on your shoulders. You're going to be left cleaning up every single last one of his messes. But I am hopeful that perhaps in the next episode, we'll finally be setting sail to the mountain biome, and maybe our creatures will get their first glimpse of the balance bear as well. Maybe all they really need to whip themselves into shape is to see the balance bear with their own eyes. I mean, just like the bearyena, which brings together so many of our creatures when they have to scramble to keep each other safe. Maybe the balance bear is what's going to do that for our mountain dwellers too. I think we'll bring Sunslash up to the mountains, or the hills rather, under the tree. That way he can gaze down on his children as they leave. And then I suppose we might as well just give it one more day. Just skip the turn one last time. as the beryenas come out to investigate. Why am I not surprised? Oh, those beryenas. They always come out when we don't need them, and yet when we do, they seem to be hiding. Maybe the beryenas are trying to push us out of their territory now. They know that we're on our way out, so they've come back to reclaim what was once theirs. Well, in the next episode, I guess Beowulf and maybe even Sunslash will have to return to the back to take care of it for their tribe. I guess that would be a good reason for them to stay behind too. They know that they're the defenders of the swamplands, so they're just going to have to trust their children to carry on their legacy in the mountains. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!